Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Xenia and welcome to Unastrologetic. Today we're going to be taking a look at the characters from House of the Dragon and I'm going to be guessing their zodiac signs, specifically their sun, moon, and rising sign, also known as the Big Three. So, guessing signs of fictional characters is just something that I really enjoy doing. It's a lot of fun and it always turns into a really fun discussion. House of the Dragon has been amazing. I'm really loving this show, loving all the characters. And as of right now, we're only 2 episodes in. So, that's the stuff that I'm going off of to sort of, make these guesses. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab my notes and then we'll get into it. Oh, yeah, and just to let you know, there will be episode 1 and 2 spoilers in this video, so spoiler alert. And if you have read the book Fire and Blood, please no spoilers in the comments. I haven't read the book. I'm just the show watcher. I did read the beginning of Fire and Blood, a bit of it just to get, caught up on like the Targaryen history and lore or whatever. But that's about it. I stopped before Jaharis became king. So yeah, no spoilers in the comments from the books, please. Thank you. All right, let's get started. So we need to get right into it with King Vyserys. Ugh. There's gonna be some sign trashing also, so like, yeah, we're here just to have fun. It's not serious or whatever. Obviously, every sign has their strengths and weaknesses. But yeah, for a king, this guy's pretty fucking weak. So I went with Sun in Libra, Aquarius moon, Pisces rising. Do you agree or not? Let me know. So I went with Libra. Let's start with Libra sun. I went with Libra because I feel like he really wants to be like this diplomatic king, and he wants everyone to get along, and he just wants peace and wants to be accepted. He wants to be liked. And this dude cannot make a decision to save his own life or his wife. I feel like he has to like mentally process it. He can't just like feel it from his heart and make a decision. Everything has to like run through his head a bunch of times. And yeah, and him letting that Baratheon knight at the tournament, talk about his cousin, saying, the queen that never was or whatever, and then what's his name? Otto Hightower was like, oh, you could have his tongue for that. And he was like, well, let the tongues wag and blah, blah, blah. It was just, you could see that he has a weakness there. Like he just doesn't want to initiate or start any sort of confrontation or anything like that. Which is fine. But for a king, yeah, no, that can't, that can't happen. He's Mr. Peanut Butter. So I always say that, I don't know if anyone watches BoJack Horseman, but Mr. Peanut Butter to me is like a Libra through and through. He's just there. Everybody loves him and he's just always happy and chipper and he wants to have fun. He wants everyone else to have fun. He wants to be liked. He wants to be popular. And he's charming, really tactful. And yeah, so King Viserys is like a Mr. Peanut Butter to me. He's a really nice guy, but he is like aloof as fuck. And so I really feel like between a sun in Libra and a moon in Aquarius, like if he's just so completely like detached. I went with Aquarius moon because it was really the scene, the childbirth scene, honestly, that sort of made me determine that. I just feel like he was just so, it happened so fast and he needed to make a decision right there and then. And it's like, he couldn't do it. He couldn't like follow his heart because I feel like he had to like process everything through his mind. And, Aquarius, like, they care more like about what's going on in society than they do about their own family or whatever, so I really felt like, sorry, that was my cat. So I really felt like, at that moment when he had to make a decision really quick, with very little counsel, he decided to put the realm first before his own wife because he's just like, all right, my wife can't hate me if she's dead. He just says what? Like, he just says, I love you. The babe's gonna come, they're gonna take the babe out now. You know, and she's all like scared and confused, like what the hell's going on? And then he's like just holding her hand saying, don't be scared. Like that was it. And she's like screaming bloody murder while they're like digging inside of her. Anyways, yeah. And Aquarius moons, I feel like, you know, they're not really like fighters and always like go off and detach. It's like, and do their own thing. You know, if someone's trying to start a fight with them, they might say a few things, but it's more like, I know more than you, and you know what? This is not worth my time, so I'm just gonna go. Like that kind of attitude. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, for King Vyserys, I really do believe like Sun in Libra, Moon in Aquarius makes sense. But I did give him a rising in Pisces because he does seem, you know, super confused, obviously, and also delusional. But yeah, he's just really moody when he when he feels victimized. That's when this sort of like anger or sensitivity like comes out. When he's faced in a situation, like an emotional situation, it doesn't seem like, you know, he sort of reacts there and then. Like he has to like process it and think about it. And yeah, he also likes, you know, his quiet time. You know, he was building that thing in his room. So, you know, he's probably got like artistic skills and things like that. But yeah, he's easily taken advantage of, kind of naive, you know, and people just see him as just a weak king. So I think Pisces rising does make sense. Okay, so next up we have Princess Rhaenyra, King Viserys' daughter. I went with Taurus Sun, Gemini Moon, Virgo rising. What do you guys think? I went with Taurus Moon because I just feel like, you know, she didn't really care about the title in the beginning. She just wanted to fly her dragon, hang out with her best friend, and eat cake. Yeah, and she didn't want to make any sort of change. She was sort of happy like where she was. Yeah, and also she, you know, she's kind of like a tomboy too, you know, but also very like delicate. So I feel like that's a big like Taurus vibe right there. You know, when it's time to handle business, like she can handle it. But she also knows how to be very soft too. And I went with the Gemini Moon because she's super quick-witted. You know, she's got some jokes, you know, she was like, fuck the septa, like, and she's able to, you know, she has that like kind of like fight or flight. Like she could do both. Like her personality can handle both. Like she's smart, you know, she knows she'll think things through first, but also if she has to make a move, she'll make a move. And like that's, I feel like Gemini Moon, like they have that duality, or they understand the duality of life and things like that, and they, you know, they're mutable, so they adapt easily. You know, she was quick to react in the meetings or whatever, and she took that dragon to Dragonstone. That scene was fucking amazing. Like I had goosebumps like the whole time. And the way she talked to Daemon, and she was like, all right, you know, if you're going to kill me, do it now. If you're going to kill me, do it now and be done with all of this. And I feel like that's a very like extreme thing to say. And I feel like, you know, the Taurus and Virgo, like, you know, they're just very blunt about things. You know, it's like, if you're going to fucking do it, just do it. And like also the impatience of Gemini, you know, she was like bored with it. Like all the dramatics that, you know, Daemon was doing. And yeah, the way she speaks and communicates, like I feel like it's very like heavy, like Mercury energy. So like that's why I went with the Virgo rising too, because she seems to give like good advice. Like everything that she said seemed like the right thing to do. And then also that scene where she had to pick a guard for her father, and like all those knights, they haven't like fought in battle. And she was just like, do you have any knights that actually fought in battle? Don't you think like we should choose someone that actually knows how to fight, who's been in battle before, to protect my father, you know, instead of these knights that are just like, you know, catching poachers. So yeah, I just feel like out of all the characters, she just has the most common sense. Oh yeah, and that whole exchange between her and Princess Rhaenys, that whole scene, I feel like it was like Battle of the Wits, and that was like definitely like her moon working. Like it was like, excuse me, like her initial like reaction to whatever Princess Rainey said to her. It was just very quick and super, you know, super sly. Like she just seems sarcastic, you know. She just seems like, you know, she can tear you down with her words if she wanted to. And I feel like she did, because Rhaenys was trying to like tell her that, you know, they're never going to choose a woman. You know, whether it's me or whether it's you, they're not going to choose a woman. And then Rhaenyra was just like, well, no, like they didn't choose you, but they bent the knee to me. And I feel like that's such a great thing to say, and also like kind of a power move too, when she said it and she knew it. Also, when she was praying in the sept with Lady Alicent, it was almost like she didn't really have, like, she wasn't really showing any emotion. Like, she showed emotion, you know, obviously at the funeral. But yeah, it didn't seem like, you know, she was just like moping around like the whole time. And then when she went to the sept, when she finally had like time, like to herself, or it was like, you know, quiet time, quiet space or whatever, she was just with her friend. Like she seemed like she was, you know, able to like let out a little emotion right there, you know, like she was holding it in. And then when she was there, she let it out like in private, or only in front of her friend, her best friend. But I feel like Lady Alicent, you know, she was talking about how she goes in there to pray and this and that. But Rhaenyra, who's Taurus, Gemini moon, Virgo rising, earth and air, like she didn't really know how to say a prayer or to like be in that kind of space. Like she was just kind of like, well, what do I say? You know, like she felt awkward doing it. And I feel like that's a very like earth and air kind of thing to do. Like Lady Alicent, like I believe, I'll get into that later, but you know, I do think she's like a water sign, so like it came easy for her to, you know, express emotion and be in that sept to like pray and stuff like that. And for Rhaenyra, it was, you know, it wasn't like difficult to do, but she wasn't like really comfortable doing it. And so yeah, I think Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, that sort of makes sense. But yeah, we'll see. All right, next up is Daemon Targaryen, and I went with Leo sun, Capricorn moon, Scorpio rising. I just feel like this guy is just like really misunderstood. Like people think he's just like this crazy, like wild and crazy asshole just doing whatever the hell he wants to do, and they don't really see like how deep like this guy actually is and how much respect he actually has for his family, and for, you know, the hierarchy, the pecking order. Like he's not a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he just feels like, you know, he's not being useful, and that sort of eats away at him. Like he wants like I feel like he wants some kind of purpose. So anyways, like that's why I went with Leo sun, Capricorn moon, Scorpio rising. So Leo sun, I chose that one because I really do believe he's a fire sign, and I was kind of like on the fence between Leo and Sag, but I ended up going with Leo because he just seems incredibly loyal. And like he seems like he doesn't care, and he'll say shit that he doesn't really mean, you know, but he'll say it in the moment to be funny or whatever, or you know. But he's actually super loyal, and it was that whole scene with Corlys, Larian, when Daemon was saying that his brother was a terrible king, and then Corlys started talking shit about how he was bad king too, or whatever he said, and then Daemon was like, don't talk about my brother that way. I could talk about my brother that way, but you can't, you know. And I was like, oh, you know. And also that helmet at the tournament, that the big like dragon wing helmet thing, I was like, ooh, like that armor and the horse's armor, it looked so sick. I was like, yeah, no, he's a Leo. Like, he's not a Sag. I feel like Sages, they're, you know, a little sloppy, or like they just don't care. They don't care about, you know, certain things. So I just feel like that was like a Leo, you know. And also like he can be pretty selfish, you know, the shit that he does and the stuff that he says, you know, he kind of acts like nothing can affect him or whatever. So he does have like that selfish attitude. But also, like, the Leo sun made sense to me because he also, I feel like he really does care about Rhaenyra, you know, and his brother. And I feel like if he was a Sagittarius, like he just wouldn't like really care. Like he would love them, but he would still just kind of act out and just be wild. But it seemed like, you know, when he got scolded by his brother. Wait, I keep saying brother. Is it his brother? Yeah, it's his brother. Okay, cool. So yeah, when he got scolded by Vyserys, like every time he got scolded by him, he sort of just like accepted it. Daemon just wants, you know, to just be a part of it. Like he's a part of the family, but he feels like, you know, he doesn't really know like where his duties lie and like what. I just feel like he needs like a sense of purpose or like direction, and he's like longing for it. And you know, that's why I went with like Moon and Capricorn, because he's not a very like reactive kind of person. He's actually pretty reserved and calm, you know, when it's like time for him to react. Like his demeanor like it is pretty cold, you know. He's super sarcastic, and he has like his humor is pretty dark. When, you know, he toasted or supposedly said, you know, the dead baby was air for the day or whatever. Like I feel like that's some like Capricorn moon type of shit, you know. They'd go that dark, you know. And he was saying to Viserys like, oh yeah, I said it because, you know, we all mourn in different ways or whatever. But yeah, but it was mostly the way he is reserved when he's like pushed. He's pretty reserved. Like he doesn't scream. He doesn't like make these like crazy decisions like right there in the moment. Like the whole confrontation with him and Rhaenyra at Dragonstone, and they just kind of like casually went up to each other and started like having a back and forth. And then when she was like, you know, kill me, do it now, whatever, get this thing over with, he was just like, you know, stone face, you know. And I really feel like he also respected her at the same time, you know, that with that whole like interaction. So I really feel like Capricorn moons, they need like a sense of purpose, you know. And the same thing with Leo too. But I feel like with Leo, it's more like I want to feel needed, or I want that attention or something like that. But with Capricorn moon, it's more about like work, like positions, titles, and if he knows that he has like certain skills, and if they're not being put to use, you know, that can turn into depression. He'll feel like inadequate, you know. And I feel like that's a very like Capricorn moon kind of vibe. Okay, so for rising, I went with Scorpio, and it's because like he just does seem like people are intimidated by him. It seems like he's intimidating. He's a little mysterious. He seems to be very passionate about, you know, certain things. And yeah, and he's just he just seems like he's just like a darker person, you know, like just his humor and just the way he sort of like looks at things. But like again, like I said, like he seems like a very loyal person. But at the same time, like with Scorpio rising, like they're very loyal, but like Scorpios will still lie, you know. And so that whole thing with at Dragonstone, when he like lied and said that he was getting married, or when he said that his whore was with child or whatever, like he just made up that whole thing, you know, just to cause some trouble or to make a point, get his point across, or to hopefully like get something out of it. Yeah, and also, yes, he's able to sort of see through a lot of things. So with like Otto Hightower, when Daemon and Vyserys were going back and forth, and Daemon was like, you know, I need to protect you because, you know, your counsel just takes advantage of you and uses you. And, you know, he And Viserys was like, well, Otto, he's loyal, and you know, he comes from a great house, or this and that. And then Daemon was like, no, he's a fucking cunt, and you can't see it, and I need to protect you, and then yeah, I need to protect you from you. And so yeah, I really like Daemon. I don't think he's a bad guy, you know, and so I'm really excited to sort of see what happens with his character. Especially, yeah, now that him and Corlys are teaming up now. I'm really excited to see where Daemon's character goes. Because, yeah, like I said, I just feel like everyone thinks he's the bad guy, but he's actually really not. Like, he looks out for his family, he loves his family. And the whole scene, the funeral scene where Rhaenyra had to, like, you know, light the pyre, he kind of had her back and was just like, your father needs you right now. And it was very moving. Okay, so these next 4 characters, I'm going to do Otto Hightower, Lady Alicent, Corlys Velaryon, and Princess Rhaenys. They didn't really get much, you know, screen time. So, like, I was having a hard time with their signs just because, like, you know, we didn't really get to know them that well yet. So I don't know how much into detail I'm going to go into their signs, but this is just like what I'm feeling, and I'll explain why. So with Otto Hightower, like this guy, I was just thinking like, okay, this guy's a fucking he seems like a psychopath. Like, just the way he is, I can't describe it. Like, the way he just like sits there and like doesn't smile, or he doesn't get angry, and then there was that one time where Daemon was like egging him on, and then he like gets up out of his seat, you know, like he's trying to fight Daemon, and then once he sits down, he's like, sorry, your grace, like with a straight face, just looking straight ahead. And I just thought like, ugh, I don't know, like I wouldn't want to have him as like the hand. I don't know, he just seems like a psychopath. So I went with Virgo sun, Cancer moon, Capricorn rising. Virgo, just because, like, I don't know, he seems like he can be like pretty obsessive, organized, and, you know, calculated. You know, like every sign that I picked, it was Virgo, Cancer, and Capricorn, like just all these like really driven signs. And also Cancers, they like to, you know, sort of be around people that are elite, I guess you could say, you know, so that makes sense for me. You know, and the way he would talk to Corlys, like at the table, like, I don't know, just talking down to him the way he did. I feel like that's a very Cancer moon thing to do with, you know, Capricorn rising, you know, just that cold, he's just super cold, super stoic. Like there's nothing going on, you know, like he's like, just, I don't know, like this robot or something, you know, like I don't see anything behind those eyes, you know, except when he gets upset. And then when he gets upset, he seems like he explodes. So that's why I went with Cancer moon. That one made sense to me. What else? Yeah, Virgo sun, you know, him complaining about his daughter's like fingers. He's like, what did he say? He's like, you're the comeliest girl in court. Like, why do you do this to yourself? Like, so he's just like, I don't know, being really critical, noticing that. Yeah, and that Capricorn rising, like he's just super cold and calculated, I feel. And yeah, Otto Hightower, I'm interested to see like how his character unfolds too, because I just feel like, I don't know, like he's just like dead behind those eyes. Like I don't know what's going on in there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And let's see. So Lady Alicent, I went with Pisces rising. I'm sorry, Pisces sun, Virgo moon, Libra rising. She just seems like a sweet girl. We'll see what happens, but yeah, she just seems like she just got caught up in everything, and she's just a pawn. And I feel like, you know, her Virgo moon, like she's smart enough to know, like she realizes she's the pawn. And I feel like that's her Virgo moon. Also, yeah, Virgo moon, like maybe a lot of nervous energy, you know, so she's always like biting her fingernails. And yeah, Libra rising, because, you know, she just seems like she just wants to be agreeable. You know, I don't know if it's because she's, you know, a woman in this show in this time, you know, but yeah, she just seems like she's very agreeable. She'll go with whatever. She doesn't want to upset anyone. Um, and that whole thing with her and Viserys when they were in his room, in his chambers, and he was like, "You're not telling Rhaenyra about our conversations, are you?" And because, you know, I would hope that, you know, you wouldn't. And she's like, no, I'm not. I won't. I also went with Virgo Moon because when she was trying to help Rhaenyra study, and they were like reading, and you know, she just seemed kind of anal about it. Like, you better like know this stuff. You have to know this. And you know, she wanted Rhaenyra to like do it. Like, Alicent didn't want to like break the rules or whatever, you know. And I feel like Virgos, they tend to try to be like obedient. Like, so yeah, when she was trying to help Rhaenyra study, I feel like that was a very Virgo thing. And when Rhaenyra like ripped out the page in the book, Lady Alicent, like, she got all nervous, like, what are you doing, you know? But yeah, and then Rhaenyra was like, you know, fuck it or whatever. And so that's, I feel like that's like her Pisces sun, Libra rising. She's like, okay, yeah, fuck it, you know, whatever. Okay, so now Corlys Valerian. I went with Cancer Sun, Taurus Moon, Gemini Rising. I went with Cancer Sun because he seems very ambitious, or he is very ambitious. You know, he talked about how he built his home on, you know, like, he didn't come from a rich family, a rich home. You know, everything that he has today, like, he built by himself. You know, he did all the work. And he's proud of it, you know. And also he cares a lot about his house, you know, his home. When what's the crab feeder guy, you know, the pirates are like attacking, you know, his home, like, he's mad about it. And also, like, when they were in the meetings in the first episode, he like brought it up kind of, you know, but then they kind of like brushed it off, you know, like he was the type of person that just complains about like a lot of things or something, you know, or he's like a worry wart or something. So I feel like that's a very Cancerian thing to do. You know, they tend to like worry about like a lot of things. So, and then they're very vocal about it, you know, and it can get like annoying for other people. So they're probably like, yeah, I know, you're probably fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, just shut up. Like, it's all right. Like, we're moving on. And then when they shut him down, like, he doesn't really react. Like, the first time he was just like, you know, like, rolled his eyes, like, whatever. And so that's why I went with Taurus Moon, because he does seem like he's very patient, you know. But yeah, and so they kept testing his patience. They weren't doing anything about it. And then boom, he finally like gets really pissed off. Like, I think it was like the second episode, he like busted through the doors at the meeting and was like, hey, yeah, we got to take care of this like crab feeder guy. Like, what the hell are you going to do about it? And I feel like, you know, that is Cancerian energy, but also like Taurus, you know, like, just finally not being able to take it anymore. Like, you keep pushing and pushing, and now, you know, they've had it up to here, and now they explode. And then I went with Gemini Rising because he seems to, you know, he seems to be very vocal about a lot of things, you know, and he seems to like have a lot of jokes too, or like just like these looks on his face, especially like when he was at the tournament with his wife, Princess Rhaenys. Like, they just kept giving each other like these looks back and forth, like they were judging the hell out of everybody. So I thought that was funny. I feel like with Rhaenyra, you know, she's Taurus with a Gemini moon, you know, her and Corlys, like, they have a lot of respect for each other. Like, they share certain qualities and things like that. So, you know, when she was like, hey, let's go to the, I think it's called the Stepstones or something. Hey, let's go to the Stepstones, bring these dragons, just to show them what we got, just to show them our power, our force, or whatever. And then Corlys was like, well, it sounds like the princess is the only one here with an idea. Yeah, so I think like they have like a similar like way of thinking. And yeah, Cancer, Taurus, you know, they get along for the most part. Oh God, yeah, the whole thing with his daughter, like them giving their daughter up for marriage for Vyserys. Even though he's a Cancer sun and he's supposed to be like nurturing and all that and care about his home, I feel like the Taurus moon and the Gemini rising sort of takes over and realizes like, okay, like this is the only way to secure your home and to sort of like have more power. So he did the most practical thing. Yeah, and then I also, yeah, Gemini rising, just because, you know, he flip-flops. What's his name? But Vyserys wasn't giving him what he needed, and Corlys seems really loyal. You know, Cancer Sun, Taurus Moon. They're pretty loyal signs. You know, and he stayed loyal until he couldn't take it anymore, and Vyserys wasn't like listening. And you know, now Corlys's house is in jeopardy. So that Gemini rising like kicks in, and he can go back and forth. Like he doesn't feel bad about, you know, treason or going against the king, because yeah, his home is what is important to him. His home, his title, you know, he worked so hard to get where he was. He doesn't want to lose it all. Makes sense. Okay, and then Princess Rhaenys, last one. I went with Capricorn Sun, Libra Moon, Gemini rising. I made her and Corlys have the same rising sign, because like I said, when they were at the tourney, like they were just like looking at each other, like talking shit and doing all that, and I just thought it was funny, like, you know, the looks that they were giving. I thought it was great. So I went with Capricorn Sun, just because Princess Rhaenys just seems like she has this kind of like elitist attitude, or she just thinks she's like better than other people, even though she's like the queen that never was. Like, I don't know, like she still has an attitude, and it's almost like she, you know, that hater kind of attitude also. And I know like Capricorn Sun, sometimes they could be haters, you know, if they're not happy with where they're at and they're seeing other successful people, like it can eat at them, you know, and they turn into like these haters. And so yeah, she was the queen that never was, but she didn't like push back at all, you know, or try to become, you know, the queen. That's why I gave her like a Libra moon, because as much as it hurts her, or like she wasn't happy, like she thought like she was able to get it, but she didn't get it. I gave her a Libra moon because she was just like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, yeah, this is never going to happen because I'm a woman. You know, so she just kind of accepted it, didn't fight back, was just okay with it, you know, and she went on, you know. And I feel like Capricorn Sun, like, has that practicality, you know, like she's like, all right, yeah, okay, obviously I wasn't gonna freaking be on the Iron Throne or whatever, so let's just keep it moving and do something else or whatever. And I gave her Gemini rising, just because like she does seem like she's very sassy. And when she had that exchange with the Princess Rhaenyra, that back and forth, yeah, it's like it was really good. Like she had some things to say, and it also seemed like she was trying to like educate Rhaenyra. So I feel like that's a very Gemini thing to do. It's like, I have this knowledge and I'm about to like educate you real quick. And that also comes from like that Capricorn Sun too, I think, you know, just like that elitist attitude. Yeah, so Capricorn Sun, Libra Moon, Gemini rising. You know, she's really good with her words too. So yeah, the double air moon, air rising. She's good at communicating. Capricorn Sun, super stoic. Doesn't really show too much emotion. Yeah, and the fact that she was able to like give her daughter away like that, you know, in order to secure her family spot or whatever. Yeah, I feel like you need that like detachment. So that made sense to me. Capricorn Sun, Libra Moon, Gemini rising. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe, comment, or share. This is like my first YouTube video, or like YouTube video that I'm actually speaking on. So it was just like kind of weird to hear myself say, please like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. Because you just hear other people do it on other channels all the time. So yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. There's going to be more videos to come. Unastrologetic, it's a new channel. And yeah, it's just going to be, I feel like it's just going to be a space to just like, you know, not take astrology so seriously. But at the same time, you know, we're still learning, we're still evolving. But yeah, just having fun at the same time. So yeah, I hope you guys really liked it, and I'll see you next time. Okay, cool. Bye.